Byzantine period, they built a church over here. That's why we can see some mosaic floors around. And they built a church, and right underneath the altar, so the altar was around here. They have the altar over here at that time. Right underneath the altar, there's a hole where you could see where Jesus was put in the dungeon. So Jesus was put in the dungeon. When it comes to the Philippines, we call this malalim na balon. In a deep up over coals of fire. And then in the Galilee, what did Jesus prepare? Coals of fire. The coal fire over there, coal fire. And probably when Peter was sitting there, he remembered what he set of holes. See this one? Yes. And then another set of holes over here. If you look over there, find it. Okay, even here on the side, you see a set of holes over here. And then also, that is for the chain. So this is the prison. This is a typical prison in the time of Jesus. Sometimes the criminal is chained only with one hand. Sometimes he's chained only just with his legs. I just kind of like go to another part of the Bible, preaching about Jesus. The people were telling him already, shut up, shake it. Stop talking about Jesus, but the more they would speak about Jesus. And so the people had them beaten up. They were beaten up in the streets, and they were taken to prison. They were chained, both hands and both feet. And they would have a lot of wounds on their bodies because they were beaten up by the crowd. And what did they do while they were there, chained?
Singing.
They were singing. They were praising God in the midst of the prison. And while they were praising God, could you just imagine that? Maybe we have a lot of bruises, a lot of wounds in their bodies, and they were praising God in the midst of it. And while they were praising God, the chains fell off. Their chains fell off, and not only theirs, but also the other prisoners. All the chains of the prisoners also got off. Now this is wonderful. Why? Because it has something to do also with our own lives. Sometimes we feel that we have a broken relationship and it's hurting you so much and you cannot function, and so you feel like you are in prison. Or you could have invested in the stock market and lost everything, and you feel like you are in prison. Or somebody got sick in the family and you lost all your wealth. And you feel like you are in prison. Now the thing is, when you feel like you are in prison, remember that story. Praise God in the middle. Not only that, it's also blessing the others that are around you. My mother is a great example. My mother was in a wheelchair, could hardly walk, and she's always praising God. She's always praising God. And so if we have a little complaint about our own lives, we could not complain because we see that she has worse situation and she was praising God in the midst of it. We are the way out of prison is praising God in the midst of it. Now Jesus was not kept here. Jesus was not kept in this prison because Jesus was the most wanted criminal. And if it is a most wanted criminal, where do you put him? Dungeon. I love. And dark and mossy and everything. And they say, what could this possibly be? And they say rain water, and the water would be coming into this area, and they would lower the bucket from there in order to get the water from the water cistern.
But then they started cleaning the place. When they started cleaning the place, the plaster, see this one? There's some remaining plaster. This used to be covered with all plaster. You can see traces of it. And then the plaster fell off when they were cleaning the place. And they saw that behind the plaster, there are crosses. There's a cross over here. Can you see it? Okay, this would have been, if they put all of these things together, then they say this could only be, the only possible thing about this place is that this must have been the dungeon or the deep pit where they threw Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. And also, he heard his close friend, Peter, tell everybody, I do not know the man. And so the way the Lord felt here, he felt all alone. He felt deserted, betrayed, and totally abandoned. And so he felt that way. And the way he felt here is actually described in the book of Psalms. Sometimes King David writes something, and it's actually a prophetic thing. And the way the Lord felt here is written in the book of Psalms, Psalm 88. There's wondrous. Please come forward, those that need healing. Sweet sacrament, we adore. Make us love thee more and more. We praise you, we adore you. Glorify thy name in all the earth. Glorify thy name. Glorify thy name. Glorify thy name. Glorify thy name. Glorify thy name in all the earth. Father, we love you, we praise you, we adore you. Glorify your name. Glorify thy name in all the earth. Jesus. Glorify thy name. Glorify thy name.
The power of the Holy Spirit, the renewal of our lives,
Glorify thy name
light,
in all the earth.
Spirit,
Thy name. Glorify thy name. Jesus. Jesus. We praise you, we adore you. Glorify thy name in all the earth. Glorify thy name. Glorify thy name. Glorify thy name in all the earth.
Receive the strength from the Lord Jesus Christ. Receive His grace, His peace, and His joy. That you can be out of the witness of His grace and His mercy to us. The Lord is giving you a special time today. And the burden, we just ask for your God to lift up His burden from our own intentions, our soul, our body, our spirit. It's correct, healing. Every area of the world. So come, Lord Jesus Christ, in your presence. Come, Lord Jesus. So entrust everything unto the Lord. All your burdens, all the troubles, all the disappointments, all the trials, entrust them to the Lord. Because God cares. Praise the Lord Jesus Christ. Turn over your whole being unto God. As you entrust your hands unto Him, you entrust also your spirit, your soul, and mind. The Lord is ministering to you, so have hope for you truly, as God is giving you the strength to carry forward for a better future of your life. God is giving you special grace for a future ahead. This is going to be a true future with Jesus in a special new horizons and new beginnings in your own life. God is giving you this in Jesus Christ the Lord. Amen.